My name's McNulty. I'm the owner of Hookbuzz.com. Hookbuzz isn't just what we do, it's our lifestyle. We're here selling product, but more than that, it's us being on the water, enjoying the environment, the people that we're with, and anything that comes along with that. It's one of those things that I get to do to break away from sort of the everyday rat race in LA. And I know everybody out there sort of has that mindset where they get stuck in their groove. You know, they're doing their 9-to-5 job, they're about to pull their hair out. It's the same thing for me, and it's the same thing for our whole crew. But what's different for us is that we're trying to create this lifestyle with Hookbuzz.com that allows us to get out there and travel around a little bit and do things that might not be normal to every other person out there walking around this planet. The first time I saw a shipwreck was diving off the coast of Southern California, Los Angeles. I was sort of blown away by how many shipwrecks there actually were in that small vicinity. The Avalon was a boat that I think was built in the mid-20s, was commissioned as a merchant marine vessel by the Navy twice during its lifetime, then was bought by the Wrigley Spearmint Gum family. It crashed on the reefs off of Palos Verdes back in the mid-50s.
My name is Garrett Clark. I'm from Palos Verdes, California, and I am a Hookbuzz team member. So the Avalon wreck was an interesting dive. It's something close to home, you know, personal to us because it's near our stomping grounds. You know, it was a World War II transport ship. Took people back and forth from the LA harbor to Avalon, hence the name Avalon. I think there's actually a street down here named Avalon after the vessel. The vessel sits, I believe, in 70 feet of water, relatively calm water, not much current there. It was a great dive. Get down there, you see the bow coming up, beautiful bow structure, it's still intact. Various caverns you can go through. You can get right inside the kind of rib cage of the hull, and it's an amazing wreck dive. You know, really good beginner kind of amateur wreck dive for everybody to get their hands wet with wreck diving.
As we got older and we got into diving, we did our research, did our homework, realized it is specifically on the bottom there for one reason. It was there because that was the salvage boat that came up to pull the Dominator off the rocks. What happened was, during that process, with the Dominator stranded, the Avalon started taking on water in a storm. Some of the bilge pumps broke, the boat sank right there. The only thing that's left of the Avalon is the crane that they used to salvage the Dominator and the bow and the stern section.
My name is McNulty from Palos Verdes, California. Co-founder of Hookbuzz.com, and been diving for about 6 years. I guess my first experience with the ocean was growing up with my father. He's an avid sailor and ex-Navy SEAL, so he had us around the ocean, and at an early age, at early 20s, started scuba diving, and then got into doing it as a profession. And from there, you know, went on to now being a co-owner in a fishing and diving website. You wonder, you know, what happened to these people? You know, that's the mystery of diving the wrecks, is why I dive wrecks today, is to learn the storyline and what happened. The adventure of the whole thing is kind of what keeps me wreck diving today. There's less known about what's on the bottom of the ocean than there is about what's up in space. You know, there's 3/4 of this planet is water. You know, you never know what you're gonna encounter, and just to be able to show people, you know, what our lifestyle and what we get to experience and see, it's a pretty special thing. So there's one motto I try and live my life by, and it's not how many breaths you take, but how many moments take your breath away. And today, you know, that rings true in my everyday life.
My name is Brett Johnson. Most people call me BJ, and I am on the Hookbuzz dive team. My first experiences with the ocean came at a pretty young age. Just growing up on a coastal town in LA, pretty much was introduced to it as soon as I could walk. I was in the water swimming and surfing, diving, every chance I had. Well, I was first got interested in diving wrecks as a little kid, walking around on the cliffs, and we could always see the Dominator and we'd go down and play around on it, and you just kind of wonder the story of what happened. My first wreck dive was with Hookbuzz. We dropped right in on the Avalon, and the surface was kind of murky, but once you got down there a little bit, everything cleared up. It was about 30 feet of visibility, and we dropped right down on it, and it was just like once it came into view, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I didn't really know, when I was going to get to it. And then I'm on the bottom, and the thing is just towering over me, and it's huge. It's like it almost reminds you of like a graveyard type atmosphere where everything's kind of decrepit, but it really kind of gets your imagination flowing about what it was like. I think people would be really interested in seeing the experiences we have with stuff like this, because I try to imagine what people go through like in the Midwest. They can live their whole life and maybe never even see the ocean. And for me, it's always been such a big part of my life. It's important to share stuff like that, and it's really more of a lifestyle than anything, because it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm thinking about, after I'm done with this, I'm going to be in the water.
My name is Ted Ruffkin. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Right now, I am living in Southern California, and I'm a part of the Hookbuzz.com crew and dive team. Being in Chicago, actually on Lake Michigan, there are a ton of dive wrecks. Me and a couple buddies, we always talked about wanting to go on an actual dive wreck. So found a company that did charters to this one dive outside of Milwaukee. So it's probably like an hour-and-a-half boat ride. Wreck was about 80 feet deep. Diving in a lake versus the ocean, that structure and that ship is so intact. So diving down there, it's like it sank yesterday. Growing up in the Midwest, you always see things on TV or you read about experiences of diving, but until you actually go do it, for me, diving when I was growing up in Chicago was a hobby of mine. We'd always like, oh, well, let's try to make a trip to go someplace. Actually moving to Southern California, that whole hobby of mine became more of a lifestyle for me. I get up and I breathe it, and I live by the ocean, and it's a part of me. The Avalon it was named something different, but it came from Chicago. So it was a passenger ship, and it went from Chicago to Milwaukee and back. So, after being recruited to a couple of world wars, Wrigley bought it and brought it around Panama Canal, and had it on Catalina for a while. And then the ship finally sank due to some bad weather and it trying to pull the Dominator off the shore. But for me, going down there and actually see that shipwreck in person, is really cool, because it has a lot of history for me growing up in Chicago. So that was a really special dive for me. Going down there, I thought there was going to be a lot more structure. Obviously, saltwater has a lot to do with the corrosion and everything on ships, but it's still, seeing the picture of the ship and actually going down to actually check it out underwater, 50 years after it sank, for me it was a really, really cool experience.
Most people are intrigued and curious about sort of what lies beneath. For us to make this series and show people what our lifestyle is about at Hookbuzz is important for us to be able to capture those images on camera, on film, and show the audience that, there's a whole nother world out there. How many people actually get a chance to put on the scuba gear, dives, fins, mask, wetsuits, weight belt, tanks, and actually get the experience and get down to the depths of the ocean